All right, people, get excited. It's Taco Tuesday. It's actually Thursday, but we're doing Taco Tuesday, whatever, I don't care. So Toyota has been having some fun with the announcement for this upcoming 4th gen Tacoma, and they've been posting a lot of like Taco Tuesday teasers, say that 5 times fast, but they've had some pretty interesting hints about new features and just all the little details that we can look forward to in this new truck. And in some cases they even have a little bit of a sense of humor. So I figured it seems fitting to do kind of a quick little rundown on this channel since it is so heavily based on Toyota trucks, including yesterday's big announcement, but we'll get to that later. So first, let's start off with the stuff that isn't coming from Toyota. Most of the stuff is coming from Toyota's social media and their press releases, but I want to start off with some of the spy shots that we've seen of these trucks driving around being tested. So in terms of spy shots, there's a few things that are kind of noticeable that jump out to us. A big thing is we see a solid rear axle. So we can put to rest any suspicions of some kind of independent rear suspension or something like they've used in some of their SUVs and stuff. The new Tacoma is going to have a solid rear axle. More than likely it's going to be like a multi-link suspension like the new Tundra has. Questioning maybe it's going to be coil springs. That's some speculation for you. Maybe air suspension, who knows? But we know for sure that the solid axle is still there. And keeping with what we're looking at on the rear end of the truck, another big thing that I noticed was we've got rear disc brakes, finally, after however many years. I think the first Tacoma was in 1995. It has always had drum brakes in the rear. And it looks like Toyota's finally getting with the program and finally putting rear disc brakes on their pickup truck. So that's definitely nice to see. Now, in some of these spy shots, I'm not sure which model this is that they were testing, but of course they're all, under wraps. You can't see any of the actual details of the truck, but we're seeing what looks like the shape of possibly a snorkel up the 1A pillar. And also it looks like there's a roof rack on top too. So that hints towards maybe being the TRD Pro model because, some of the TRD Pro Tacoma, 4Runner I think as well, have TRD snorkels available on them right now with this generation of trucks. So it makes sense that they would probably offer that on the next one. The question is though, is that going to be the TRD Pro or is it going to be the Trail Hunter, which is a completely separate model? We'll talk more on that in a minute. Now, another big thing that people are talking about is what kind of a powertrain is this truck going to have in it? And from what I'm seeing online, it looks like the speculation is probably going to be a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder. It's probably going to be turbocharged, and it looks like there's going to be a hybrid version available as well. So Toyota's already using this engine in the Lexus NX350. And so it's kind of expected that they're just going to take that same engine and just flip it to make it, a rear-wheel drive platform for the pickup truck. Now, I don't think that that's confirmed by Toyota just yet, but it's kind of a given. I think it's pretty much expected at this point. Enough for the spy shots, enough for the speculation. Let's jump right into everything that Toyota has told us, the whole story of what's gone on with what they've been sharing and kind of the timeline of how they've been breaking this down. And honestly, they've been teasing the crap out of this truck to us. You see all the comments on Instagram and stuff, people are just begging them, like, just show us the truck already. But for some reason, Toyota wants to play games with this, and they want to kind of build up the hype, and it seems like they're having fun with it. So I kind of enjoy it too. I think it's fun to have some suspense with a new vehicle coming out, because, when was the last time we got a completely all-new Tacoma? Realistically, the 3rd gen was kind of a 2nd gen upgraded, right? So this is a pretty big deal. So let's go all the way back to when those photos were leaked, supposedly, from the Brazilian patent office. People originally thought that this was just somebody trying to kind of get their 15 minutes of fame, and these weren't real patent pictures, or more than likely, people thought that these were just the patent pictures for the Toyota EV truck that they released it was like a Japan EV conference. And the patent pictures look exactly like that truck did. That was supposed to be an all-electric truck. It was the kind of shape and size of a Tacoma, but Toyota never mentioned anything about being a Tacoma, and this was a couple of years ago. This was back in December of 2021. So we all thought that it was just somebody that was pretending to have kind of like insider information, but it was actually just pictures of something else that has nothing to do with the Tacoma. It was just kind of a concept truck that Toyota had built just to show off their intentions of building maybe some EV trucks. March 23rd, this was the first official teaser shot from Toyota. And they didn't give us much. It was kind of a dusk shot. The truck was all blacked out, and you really can't make much out except for sort of the silhouette of it. And one thing that really stood out to me here was the cab size on the teaser shot from Toyota looked a lot bigger than the cab size in the patent pictures and also those spy shots of the trucks driving around. It looked like those rear doors were a lot longer, and to me, my suspicion would be that maybe we've seen in the patent pictures and in the spy shots, that might be the smaller access cab of the new Tacoma. And then in this new teaser shot, this was the full double cab. I don't know if they're still gonna be using those same titles for their cab sizes, but I'm just basing that off of the current Tacoma names. But maybe it's as simple as that. You know, people were saying they're concerned about the cab size not being big enough, and they're basing it off of what might be just pictures of the smaller cab. So that's what I would think is going on there, but let me know what you think in the comments. And then later on this same page, Toyota actually added a few more pictures to this, and they basically just showed the LED lighting of the truck, the headlights, the taillights. It also shows that it has like a front light bar mounted in the bumper, again, just like the Tundra and the Sequoia do now. And that's all it showed, trust me. As many others did, I took the pictures, I put them in Photoshop, I ramped the brightness up, and nothing. Toyota has blocked all of that out. They're not playing games. Nobody's gonna be spoiling their surprise on this one, except for whoever leaked those pictures from the patent office in Brazil, of all places. The only kind of details that were really worth noting on those pictures, aside from the lighting, was just, you can clearly see that there's a shark fin antenna on the roof, and there's two little points on the top of the roof. And if you look at it from that angle, I'm thinking that's more than likely a roof rack, which is also what we saw on some of those spy shots. Okay, March 28th, and this is where Toyota starts having some fun with us. So this post, some people probably just missed this and didn't even realize what it was actually hinting at, but it's a picture of a third gen Tacoma. And so what's so crazy about that? Well, here's the thing. If you look closer, first of all, the caption that Toyota wrote was patented good looks with like a sunglasses emoji. And let's remember the first initial pictures that were leaked about this truck were supposedly Brazilian patent photos. Now, if you look in the background of this image, I'm assuming this is photoshopped as kind of a joke. They didn't actually take this picture in real life, but the building in the background says Brazilian Patent Office. So clearly they're poking fun at the fact that somebody leaked pictures of this truck out on them. And I think they're trying to kind of get out ahead of it, like, oh yeah, you know, what can you do? If you look a little bit closer, you'll see that there's a vehicle parked in front of the so-called like patent office. And it appears to be what looks like a blurred out 2024 Tacoma. You can't make out any kind of details about it or anything though. People have tried zooming in and tried to clear up the image. Again, Toyota's not clowning around. They're not gonna let us spoil their surprise. One more little Easter egg in this image. If you look at the license plate on the back of the third gen Tacoma, again, this is not anything about the new truck really, but the license plate says 040423. And of course, the internet started going crazy saying like, is this a hint that they're gonna be announcing the truck on April 4th of this year? Well, not quite, but they did give us something. So fast forward to April 4th, there was nothing really going on before that in between these two posts, but on April 4th, we didn't get the unveil that we were kind of wondering about. But we did get an Instagram post, and it was kind of a big deal though too, because it did indeed confirm that there will be a TRD Pro version of the new Tacoma right out of the gate. Now, of course, everyone, including myself, was zooming in on this photo, trying to find any kind of other details and any other features on the truck. The big one that I found noticeable was the iForce Max badge on the tailgate. And this signifies that there's obviously going to be a hybrid, because that's what Toyota is referring to as their hybrid engines in their Toyota trucks right now. The Sequoia and the Tundra both have iForce Max, which is their twin turbo V6 with the hybrid system as well. Now, here's the thing. Some people are kind of freaking out saying, oh, it's going to be a small truck with the kind of the hot rod big engine out of the Tundra. No, why would Toyota do that? They're not going to put that same high horsepower engine into the small truck. That takes away from the Tundra. It doesn't make any sense. So it's worth keeping in mind that just because they've titled it the iForce Max powertrain, it doesn't mean that that only counts for one engine. And a great example of that is the previous Tundra, which was the iForce 5.7 V8. Some people might not be aware of this, but the 2UZ, the 4.7 in my 4Runner, is technically also an iForce V8, and those are two completely different engines. So I think that's what's going on here again. This is going to be what we've heard speculation of, a 2.4 turbo 4-cylinder with a hybrid system. So it might be the turbo 2.4 on its own, might be just the regular version, and then the iForce Max would be with the added hybrid system. So that's what I would expect that means. The other things that we're seeing in this image is the taillights look a lot like the Tundra. And a lot of people are saying, based on like the patent images and everything that we know so far, it looks a lot like they took a Tundra and just shrunk it down. And that's kind of to be expected, because automakers do like to kind of have a theme with all of their vehicles, whether it's like a grille design or in some cases like an overall shape or something. And so I think it's probably safe to expect that this truck is going to look kind of like a miniature Tundra. A couple of differences that we're not seeing on the Tacoma TRD Pro versus the Tundra TRD Pro is no technical camo on like the tailgate trim or on the fenders. Maybe that's just because this is a pre-production truck in these images. I doubt it though. I think maybe Toyota's just saving that for the Tundra, because again, it's almost like they can't make the Tacoma too special or nobody's gonna want to buy a Tundra. So I think maybe they're keeping that separate a little bit, just a little extra coolness for the more expensive Tundra. We're also not seeing any Raptor lights on the rear end of this truck. The three red lights on the tailgate, which would match the three amber ones on the front grille. We have no reason to believe that the Tacoma has any of that, front or rear. Now, one thing, I'm not too sure about this one, but TRD John mentioned it in one of his YouTube videos, and if you don't follow along with him, make sure to check out his channel. He does a lot of content about like the brand new trucks. I did get this tip from him, and he noticed that this TRD Pro image was shared on Instagram at 5:10 a.m. That's a really weird time to make a social media post, especially for such a huge company like this. Why 10 after 5? But now we know that Toyota is kind of playing around with these things and Easter eggs in some of their images. So could this potentially hint at an official launch May 10th of this year? I don't know. April 11th, another big announcement on Instagram, and this is about the Trail Hunter version of this truck. So if you're not familiar with the Trail Hunter idea here, this is a new model that Toyota's going to be putting out of all of their trucks. Well, I think all of their trucks, at least the Tundra for sure, and apparently now the Tacoma. But this is a new model line that is essentially, it features aftermarket off-road parts on it, from some pretty high quality manufacturers as well. The thing is, these aren't going to void your warranty, and the other cool part is that you can actually roll the cost of these parts into the financing for your truck. So if you buy a $40,000 truck and you add 10 grand worth of accessories and ARB bumpers and Fox suspension and all this stuff, you can actually work that into your monthly payment on the truck instead of coming up with the cash to buy the parts. Now, whether that's a good financial decision or not, but the Trail Hunter trucks are heavily aimed at the overlanding crowd, and you can tell by their badging and some of their messaging and their posts about it and stuff. It is intended to be kind of a turnkey overlanding truck. And we now know that there's going to be a Tacoma version of this. So what are we seeing in these Trail Hunter images? Well, there's quite a few things going on here. First of all, I think the big thing that I'm noticing is the color of this truck. It looks to be kind of like a bronze color, and I can't really tell if it's a satin finish or if it's just like a really heavy metallic in this paint, but it's cool looking. And I think this is a very new kind of a color that we haven't seen on any Toyota trucks ever so far. We're also seeing black housing headlights on this Trail Hunter model at least. I don't know if this means that they're gonna be black housing on all of the models. I would assume probably like the lower level Tacomas are probably gonna come from the factory with chrome headlights and stuff. We see Trail Hunter is actually lit up on the corner. There's a little Trail Hunter badge, which that's a really cool little detail that they didn't have to do, but they're purposely adding little details to the truck just to make it a little bit more interesting. What else are we seeing in this picture? We're seeing some pretty beefy looking fender flares. These are, it just looks like black plastic, but these look pretty thick, which to me, I'm thinking if Toyota has to put this wide of a fender flare on this, what would the reason be for that? They must be selling this truck with some pretty meaty tires on it. The image of the rear, again, we can see on the tailgate that kind of cool bronze color. You see the Trail Hunter badge there, which It looks like a compass, again, like heavily aimed at the overlanding crowd. And what do we have on the rear end? We've got a beefy looking ARB rear bumper with a bright red ARB tow hook. This is pretty cool. This is what the Trail Hunter package is supposed to be all about. Getting really high-end aftermarket parts on your truck right from the dealership. Another thing worth mentioning though is if you brighten up this image, Toyota has once again blacked out certain sections blocking the rear suspension design, so you can't quite see what's going on in there to confirm whether there's leaf springs or coils or airbags or whatever. All right, April 18th. What do you know? Toyota's back surfing on Instagram again, and it looks like this image is probably from the same photo shoot as that first one of the rear tailgate. You see the dirt flying, the color grading looks very similar. But it's a shot of the rear wheel and, well, a little bit more. We see the side of the box as well. This indeed does confirm rear disc brakes. So rejoice everybody, the 2024 Tacoma is gonna have modern rear brakes. We also see the new TRD Pro wheels, which I'm assuming are probably made by BBS again, like they have been recently. Can't quite tell what size or what type of tire is on there. It doesn't look super aggressive, but it does look like some kind of an AT tire. We're seeing the fender flares. Can't really tell if there's technical camo on there. I think it just looks like dusty black plastic. One thing that stood out to me here is look at the gap between the front of the bed and the back of the cab. You could barely even get your fingers in between there. And if you look at the current generation Tacomas, there's a football field in between. So I'm not sure if this is going to signify that the shape of the cab and it being tighter to the box is going to mean that they have extracted every little bit of interior space that they could on this truck, which I know has been a big complaint from Tacoma owners in the past. They just were too cramped inside. Even if you got the bigger double cab, the rear seats are just a little bit too small. And this is a slidey post, so they also included an image of the front coilover, which is a Fox coilover, which is to be expected. That's what they were on the previous generation. The one weird thing though is that there's no sway bar in the picture. I don't see any front sway bar here. And if you look at pictures of the previous gen TRD Pro, or even the current newer Tundra, there's a great big beefy sway bar there. So did they take it off in order to get this shot just for looks, or is there no reason for a front sway bar on this truck? And the reason I say that is if you take a closer look at the body of this coilover, first of all, it has a Fox sticker on it that says QS3, which is obviously some kind of damping that they have. But there appears to be a adjustment dial on this, which I think is so cool. To have a truck from the factory that you can actually adjust like compression and rebound on the suspension, that's pretty cool, man. Now what gets my interest here is this new suspension, is it good enough to warrant not running a front sway bar? Because if you know, like in the the aftermarket community, there's a lot of off-road people that don't run front sway bars. In the interest of getting better articulation off-road, a lot of people will just either disconnect or just take their front sway bars right off. And so this is pretty interesting to me. Did Toyota figure out a way, or Toyota and Fox figure out a way to keep the truck from rolling in the suspension valving versus needing to have a sway bar up front? Okay, April 25th, we've got another new teaser, another Taco Tuesday teaser. I don't know if that was a Tuesday, I don't know. This is showing what appears to be a JBL Bluetooth speaker that is mounted in the dashboard, and then it has like a quick release. You can pop it out, take it with you. Who cares? This means nothing to me. To me, I'm more interested in kind of looking for more details of the tailgate and the bed. It looks like the top of the tailgate has a bit of a kind of like a lip spoiler on it, which is similar to the Tundra as well. Aside from that, this is, I don't know, for me it's kind of a nothing sandwich. It's just an update for the sake of making an update. Nothing really exciting here. Okay, May 2nd, we just are following off of kind of a boring update. Well, Toyota hit us with a big one, and this is one that really surprised a lot of people. They have confirmed there will be a 6-speed manual transmission available on the 4th gen Tacoma, and that's awesome. I mean, how many mid-size pickup trucks can you still buy with a 6-speed manual? I mean, how many pickup trucks, period, can you buy with a 6-speed manual? So in the post, Toyota wrote that they've seen your questions, and guess what? The new 2024 Tacoma is coming in clutch. So again, they're having fun with this stuff, and it's cool to see. They just posted a picture of 3 pedals. That's all we got. That's really all we need to know. But so one of the reasons why I think that this is such a huge announcement is the biggest complaint that people have of the 3rd generation Tacoma, the current truck right now. Yeah, it's direct injection, and maybe the engine isn't quite the same as the older 4 liters, but the engine's okay. It's fairly reliable, but the problem is the transmission. And everybody that drives these current generation Tacomas complains about the thing hunting for gears like crazy. It can't find a gear, it can't stay in a gear, and it's completely ruining the driving experience for a lot of people, to the point where a lot of people are kind of turning their backs to the Tacoma and saying, you know what, I'm gonna have to buy something else, either step up to the Tundra, or maybe they go Nissan, maybe they switch to one of the American trucks or something. So one way to fix that is to get rid of the automatic transmission completely and just order yours in a manual, and now you're the one running the show. I think that's a pretty big deal, and I think it's cool that Toyota is really continuing to listen to their potential buyers, and that's what you got to do to survive in this auto industry these days, because as you can see, it's getting more and more competitive, more and more cutthroat, and they no longer have the option to continue making boring kind of run-of-the-mill vehicles and leaving them the same forever and just running off of their reputation from 25 years ago. They have to be current, they have to be doing fun stuff, and I think they have got the memo. And from what I remember seeing at the Toronto Auto Show when I made that video a couple months ago, all these new TRD Pro models, they're fun trucks again. They're coming in bright colors, they have lots of really cool little details, little Easter eggs in them. And I think Toyota's doing a good job, and I have no reason to believe that the Tacoma is going to be any different. I think Toyota knows that the Tacoma is one of their biggest sellers, especially in terms of their trucks. The popularity of this truck has been insane. We just published an article on the website last week that talks about all the reasons why the Tacoma has been so popular for so long. It's no joke. It has a cult following, and with that comes the responsibility. If you're going to make a new version of it, you better do a good job, because you're going to lose a lot of faithful followers. So I think Toyota knows it. Toyota's putting everything they got into this thing. That's pretty much all I got here. That brings us up to date to what we just saw announced yesterday. I don't know. I guess we got to stay tuned for next week, next Tuesday, maybe next Wednesday. Is the final reveal going to be here? I don't know. But I don't know how many of you guys are planning on buying one of the new Tacomas, or even interested in it. I did a poll in the community a little while ago, and it seemed like it was about 50-50. Some people were interested, some people didn't care. Me personally, am I going to buy one? Am I going to put an order in? No, I don't think so. I don't think the Tacoma is for me. Our current Tacoma, I'm fixing it up, I'm going to be selling it. I would prefer to have a bigger truck, and so I think I'm going to be a buyer for the Tundra more than the Tacoma. But let me know in the comments below what you think. What do you think about what we know so far about this truck? Are you planning on getting one? Do you think it's stupid? Do you think I'm stupid? Be nice. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you like this type of video with kind of like industry news. I haven't really done something like this before, but I thought, whatever, man, I'll try it out. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya. So I'm just editing this video right now, and what do you know? Toyota just made another announcement, and this is the one that we've been waiting for. They announced that the official world debut of the new 2024 Tacoma is going to be May 19th. And they also gave us a few more little teaser shots. Again, silhouette shots, but I'm going to show you what we've got. So for starters, we have this. It appears to be an access cab with a shorter cab and a long bed. You can see the suspension hanging down kind of low, a little bit concerning in terms of breakover angles and stuff. I think this might be an exhaust tip hanging out the back, and then this leads me to believe that this is going to be one of the street models, like the lower end models, because it does have an air dam underneath for aerodynamics. Now this one here, again, this might, I'm going to assume this might be like an SR5 or something, but we have the double cab. So this is a larger rear door and a shorter bed. Looks like things are tucked up a little bit more behind here, but it still has this air dam up front. Now moving on to this, I'm going to assume that this one is going to be the Trail Hunter because it's got the stupid bed rack thing. Ram is doing that too. I don't like it. It makes it look like an 80s movie truck. I'm not a fan. But it does have a nice looking roof rack up top. That is also confirmed. And then last but not least, I'm going to assume that this is the TRD Pro model because it is sitting up a little bit higher, just like the Trail Hunter model. Again, we've got no air dam up front here. And Yeah, this seems to me like this is probably the TRD Pro model, and I'm not sure if the background colors have anything to do with this too, because remember the color of the Trail Hunter that we saw in those teaser shots? It showed the TRD Pro in kind of a white color in those shots. The Trail Hunter was this kind of like bronze color, and then we've also got, I don't know if this is kind of like a solar octane kind of color, and then I don't know if this is like a metallic gray or like a cement kind of a gray, but I guess time will tell. But regardless, May 19th, we're finally going to know everything. So stay tuned, guys.